This conference will now be recorded.
So any doubts in yesterday's class?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so let's continue. So we were supposed to do with the count function. So this is also called a statistical function. I wanted you people to open the Excel file and go to the sheet count. Did everyone open the file? So here count. So count means in this particular range, I wanted to see how many numerical values are there in this range of cells. So I'll type equals count, open the bracket. 1 second, I'll just make it equals count, open the bracket, and here I have to select the range. So once I select the range, in this particular range, how many numerical values are there? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cells. So 7 cells contain the numerical values there. So I'll get the answer as 7. Count A means the number of used cells. Count A, open the bracket and select the range except the blank cell. So it will count and tell how many used cells are there. There are 9 used cells. Count blank will tell how many blank cells are there in the range. Count blank and select the range. So there is only one blank cell. Everybody understood?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll show the formula. You people can try. Hope you people are able to do it. So let's go to the next concept. I hope everybody has done it. So next we are coming for max and min function. So here I wanted to calculate the maximum marks in the English subject and in the history subject. So I'll put the function equals max, open the bracket, and select the range from the marks in English column. Enter. 78 is the maximum marks. So now the same way I wanted to check it for the marks in history equals max, open the bracket, and select the range. That is from F2 to F6. So the maximum marks in history is 97. So if I wanted to check the minimum marks equals min function, open the bracket, select the range. In English, minimum marks is 9.6. Minimum marks in history. So select the range, close the bracket, enter. So minimum marks in history is 25. So here you have to just use equals max and equals min. Equals max and here equals min function. So I'll show the formulas. I wanted you people to try with this. So all those things are very simple functions. It is very easily you can follow. So done with this, girls. Shall we move to the next one? So now we are coming for referencing. So reference. So reference means a cell reference refers to a cell or a range of cell on a worksheet and can be used in a formula so that Excel can find the values or data that you wanted to calculate. So as we have discussed earlier in Excel, I need not have to keep on applying the functions or formula for each and every cell. I'll just apply it in the first cell, and when I do the fill handle, it is going to calculate automatically for the next given cells also. In references, we have three types: relative reference, absolute reference, and mixed reference. So what is this relative reference is? So now here I have given an example of months where I have the total revenue, expenses, and now I wanted to know the net income. So I'll just put in a simple calculation: equals total revenue minus expenses. Enter. So now again in the next cell I need not have to put any function once again. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just simply click here on my first cell. I'm going to apply the fill handle. This black color cross what you have, just take the cursor there, double click, the calculation is done. Okay, so when I look at the formula, so I have applied it for the first cell where I'm telling B20 minus C20. So when I did the fill handle, what Excel is doing is it is taking the reference of the first cell where I have done the calculation with subtraction. So the same reference it will take and it will apply to the next cell by making the necessary changes. Like when it is coming to the next cell, so from B20 to C20, it becomes B20 minus C21. When it comes to the next cell, B22 minus C22, B23 minus C23, B24 minus C24. Like this, it will apply, take the reference, it will apply the calculation by making the necessary changes. And by default, Excel follows the relative reference. When I'm applying any functions, formulas, anything, Excel is going to perform. Excel by default, it is going to take up with relative reference. Okay. So two to sums we will try to solve it. Then I will give you the time to do it. So first one. Next we have absolute reference. So absolute reference. Girls, if anything you are not getting, you are not able to follow it, please do ask. So here I wanted, so next one is absolute reference. Here neither the column nor the row reference change. And here I'll be using F4 to lock the cell. So here I have given the example of hourly wages rate. Okay. So here there are certain employees who have done overtime. They have worked extra. So John has worked for 3 hours. Peter has worked for 4 hours. Mark has worked for 2 hours. Henry has worked for 1 hour. Like this, followed up with the different employees. They have worked extra work they have done. That is overtime they have done. And per hour, the charges, the wages, what we give them is 150. Now I need to calculate how much should I pay to John. So like if he has worked for 3 hours means, if per hour the wages is 150 means how much should I pay to John, equals 3 into 150. Isn't it the actual calculation? Enter. So I'll come here and I'll just double click. See, is the values correct? I want any one of you or somebody to respond. If you are not responding, what would I understand whether you people are following it or not following it?
Ma'am, can you repeat the last part once again?
So here I need to calculate how much the wages that I have to pay to each employee who has worked for certain number of hours, wherein I am telling per hour the wages is 150. So here I will take equals 3 into 150. That is for John. He has worked for 3 hours and per hour the wages is 150 means John is going to get 450. When I come and do the fill handle or fill series, this black color cross, I'll take my cursor here and double click on it. So is the calculation right? Am I getting the correct calculation? No, I am not getting the correct calculation.
No,
Why
ma'am.
am I not? Sorry.
No, I said no, we are not getting the correct one.
Yeah. So when I look at the formula, so it is B36 into C33. Yeah, 3 into 150. When I'm coming to the next cell, 4 into C34. That is empty cell. When I'm coming to the next cell, 2 into gross pay. So this is not the actual thing what it should have happened. It should have been like 3 into 150, 4 into 150, 2 into 150, 1 into 150, wherein this hours worked should be, there should be a flow in this. But here this value should have remained constant, that is C33 should have been remained constant, but here it is not the same. So now what should I do in order to do the calculation properly? So I will take equals 3, that is B36 into C33. Now here I'm going to use the locking system. Locking. So here what will happen is Excel by default it will move forward or it will move downward. So by default it is not going to work on the reverse side. Okay. If we want we can make it work. But now for instance I don't want my this one values to be moved towards my right side or nor move towards the downwards. So what am I going to do is I'm going to keep this cell, that is C33, constant, or I can tell it like locking the cell or freezing the cell, anything. So I have to lock this cell. How am I going to lock this cell? Means I'm going to use F4. So F1 to F12 you have the functional keys at the top. F1, F2, F3, F4 you have, no? So in that I have to use F4. And here one simple note, the people who are using laptop, so certain if it is a new laptop you can directly use F4. If it is a little bit older laptop means you need to press Fn key at the bottom, like on your left hand side next to your spacebar you have Fn. You have to press that key, keep holding and then press F4 in order to perform this action. I repeat, if you are using a very new laptop, very recently you have bought it means F4 directly you can work. If it is a little bit older laptop also, you need to press Fn key at the bottom of your keyboard. Next to your spacebar you have Fn. Fn key, hold that Fn key and then press F4. So here I'm going to press F4. Now can you see any changes that has happened to C33? Can anybody tell me what has happened there?
Ma'am, the dollar sign got added.
Yes, so the dollar sign has got added. So here I'm talking about C means it is my column and 33 is nothing but my row. So when it is dollar $C means I'm locking my column, dollar 33 means I'm locking my row. So both the case, that is on the column and on the row side, both the case I am locking it. So if I press F4 key once again, the locking system gets changed. So now the lock has been released from the column and lock is applied only to the row. Once again I will press F4. Now column is locked and the row is released. Means only column is applied with the lock, row there is no lock. I'll press once again F4. So the locking system is removed. That means constantly, repeatedly, if you are using F4 key, means the locking system keeps getting changed. First time both your row and column will get locked. Second time your row will get locked. Third time your column will get locked. Fourth time the locking system will be removed. So now in this condition, I have to lock both my column and my row. So I'll press F4. So I have $C $33. That means my C column is also locked. My 33rd row is also locked. I'll press enter. Now I'll come here and I will apply the fill handle. My calculation is done. Now when I look at the formula, you can see B36 into C33. The dollar sign is applied. 4 into 150. You can see Excel will show you with the highlighted borders. So when I come here, 2 into 150, 1 into 150. So here this 150, that particular cell has remained constant. Clear? Is it
Yes,
clear
ma'am.
or you? Okay. So next one, let's try with the next one, and then I will give you the time to try it out. You people can try it again. So now here I have one more example. I have, wherein I have some food items like bakery items which have been sold, quantity and price. So here I have to apply with the total, that is sum function, and wherein I have to find the cost with total price. So total price I will tell equals quantity into price. Enter. I'll do the fill handle. My calculation is done. Now I need to calculate total price with the GST. So here I'll tell equals 100 into 10%, wherein I am going to keep this 10% constant by using which key? Which key I am going to use it to lock the cell?
F4.
Very good. So I'm going to press F4. Enter. Now I'm getting only the GST value, wherein they are telling total price with the GST. So now what I have to do is I'll put equals 100 into 10%. I'll lock this cell. So I'll close the bracket, and at the beginning I will open the bracket. Now this thing is going to calculate and tell me what is the GST value is. Then I'll come out of the bracket plus, again I will add 100. Now enter. So when I come here, my calculation is done. I'll explain it once again. Now I have to calculate total price with GST. So I'll take equals. So I can take the value directly. First I'll take the value plus, open the bracket, then again 100 into 10%. I will lock the cell, close the bracket, enter. Both are one of the same only. So I'll come here and double click on your fill handle. The calculation will be done. The same time, if you wanted to apply the calculation in a different way, so here I'll tell equals 100 into, open the bracket, 100 into 1 plus 10%. Like this also I can apply the calculation. So why am I showing it in two different ways? Means in Excel it is not that you have to follow only one particular condition in order to get your output. However you are going to manipulate with your function, however you are going to write it, Excel is going to perform with the action. Okay, so that is why I showed it in two different ways. Here what I have done is K35, that is 100 into 1. So 100 ones are 100 plus 10% GST. This is what I have put, and here what I have put is 100 plus 100 into 10%. So either ways you can try. So I'll just write the formulas above so that you people can follow it. Understood? Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Please try to understand the logic and then put it, write the functions. So if people can try this out. This is a very simple calculation. Relative reference, absolute reference, I have shown the formulas over here. So formula is over here, and so I'll just put it, highlight it so that you will get to know.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, ma.
Ma'am, can you explain the total price?
This one, total price with GST, both the things.
No, ma'am, only total price.
Only total price. So here I am just taking equals quantity into price. That's it. I'm not going to fix anything. Enter. I'll just come here and do the fill handle. My calculation is done.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Yeah. First try with the relative reference and then you can try with the absolute reference.
Done, ma'am.
What about others? So relative reference and absolute reference, both you people have done.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's go to the next one, that is mixed reference. So now here in absolute reference, here you saw that I'm going to keep any one value constant. That means nor my column is going to move nor my row is going to move. So if according to the scenario I have to keep any one thing fixed. So in mixed reference is a type of absolute reference in which either the column is made constant or the row is made constant. Any one side I'm going to make it constant. So for that I'm using a simple multiplication table over here, 10 tables only. So it is very easily you people can do it. So here now let's understand the scenario. So there is two scenarios wherein I have given the row values like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and the multiplicants 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is there. So now there are two different scenarios. One is my column and one more is my rows. So first thing I'll take is my columns. So here I'll just put in 10 into 1. So this is the actual calculation. 10 ones are 10. But when I drag it down, is the calculation correct? No, the calculation is not correct. So now what I need to do? So here also locking system is there, but based on the scenario, I have to check whether my column should be constant or my row should be constant. So for that, I'll take 10. So that is my A60. So according to this, in this particular scenario, you can see when I drag it down, the calculation should move downwards. That means from 10, it should move to 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So there should be a flow in my rows. Okay. When I'm talking about columns, the calculation should be applied in 59th row, not on 60th row. So when I drag it, it is going to move from A60 to B60, C60, where the calculation is going to be wrong. So what I have to do is in this particular scenario, I have to keep my column constant and keep my row released. So for that, I'm going to press F4. First time it is locking, Excel is locking both my column and my row. I don't want column to be locked. I'll press F4 once again. Now my column is released and row is locked. First scenario is done. I'll put the calculation sign, multiply. So now second scenario, that is my B59. So now in this there should be a flow in my rows, that is 59, 60, So that is from B59, it should move to C59, D59, E59, like that it should move, wherein the column should remain constant because it should not move downwards. Okay, so in this scenario, I have to keep my, I have to keep my, no, in this it has, I have missed it. It is on my A. On my column, I should make it constant. I made mistake over here once again. So now column is constant. Sorry. So here my column is constant and row is released as per what I explained. So there will be a flow in 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, wherein column will remain constant. And here I have to lock my row. First time I'll press F4, once again I'll press F4. So in the first scenario my column is locked, and in my second scenario my row is locked. I'll press enter. Now I'll go back and apply the fill series. The calculation is done. I'll explain you once again. Equals, I'll take 10, that is A60. In this, my column should be constant and row should be released. For that, I'll press F4 first time. Both row and column is locked. I don't want that. I'll press F4 one second time. My column is released, row is locked, wherein my column should be locked. So I'll press F4 for the third time. Now my column is locked, row is released into 1. In this scenario, there should be a flow in my column, not in my row. So I need to keep my row constant and release my column. I'll press F4 for the first time. I don't want both to be locked. Once again, I'll press F4. My row is locked and column is released. I'll press enter, go back and drag it towards the bottom and drag it towards my right. My calculation is done. So if I was trying to do it manually, not even 3 to 4 also I would have completed. But by using the references within, by using applying a function on one single cell, you can do the calculation on the entire table. Got it? Understood? Is still
Yes,
anybody
ma'am.
is having doubt? Okay, there is a second scenario. I wanted you people to try with this. So I'll explain here. So there is items what I have sold, quantity into price, total price you have to put quantity into price, and here I need to calculate. So only one place I'm going to apply the function wherein it should calculate for the entire 3 commission rates. So tier 1 is 10%, tier 2 is 15%, tier 3 is 20%. How I need to apply the calculation? How am I going to write my function so that I'm going to get it calculated for the entire table? Only this place I have to apply. Okay, so here if I apply my condition, the entire thing should get calculated. So first you solve this one and then you people can try with the second one. If you are not getting, still I will explain the second sum also, how it has to be done. I'm showing the function. Sorry, what is the calculation I have put? First you people try with this multiplication table, then you can go for the commission table. Is everyone able to solve it? If you want me to explain it once again, I'll explain it, girls.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, how to do the commission part?
Commission part. Did you got this multiplication table?
Yeah, ma'am, I'm done with it.
You understood, right? How the locking
Yes, ma'am.
system has got changed? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's see how to calculate with the commission part. So first thing is I need to calculate the total price. So I'm going to apply the simple calculation equals quantity into price. Enter. I'll just do the double click on my fill handle. So now here I will put the write the function equals, that is 875 into 10% has to be done, isn't it? So I'll select 875, that is Q60. So according to this, the same logic only here also I need to apply. So here there should be flow in my rows, that is from 875 it has to move to 1350, 1125, 1200, like this. That means there should be a flow in your row. And here the values, if I am dragging it this side, it will move from Q60 to R60 and S60, T60, where it has to be calculated, it should be in R58, S58 and T58. So I need to lock my column here. So I'll press F4 one time, F4 second time, and F4 third time into 10%. Now the same logic only I'm going to apply. When I drag it, there should be a flow in my columns. That is, it should move from R58 to S58 and T58. And there should be a it should remain constant on my row. Why? Because there is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. I cannot drag it towards my down. That means the calculation should not move downwards. It should move only on your column end. So here what I will do is I will lock my row, that is 58. So here I'll press F4. So my row and column both are locked, which I don't want. Once again I'll press F4. So my row is locked. In the first condition my column should be locked, and in the second condition my row should be locked. Enter. I will come here, I'll drag it down, and I will drag it towards my right. So when I click here, I'll just press F2. 875 into 10%. I'll come here, 875 into 15%. I'll come to the third tier, 875 into 20%. So it all depends on how you are going to lock the things. So which one it has to be locked, you need to understand the logic and then apply the locking thing. Locking part has to be done. Is everybody understood, or you want me to explain it once again? Girls, if anybody has not understood, I will explain it once again. It's not an issue. If you have understood, well and good. You people can try. I'll show the formula. But try to understand the logic. If you understand the logic, it is very easy to work on Excel. How the locking system has changed. Need to understand that. Is still anybody having the doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay, shall we move to the next concept? So next one is lookup. So lookup, 1 second. So you people must have been heard the name VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP in Excel. So VLOOKUP is nothing but vertical lookup and HLOOKUP is nothing but horizontal lookup. So most of the time people get confused when I need to apply VLOOKUP, when I need to apply HLOOKUP. It is nothing but based on your table. If your table is vertically organized, it should be VLOOKUP. If your table is horizontally organized, then it is HLOOKUP, as simple as it is. Okay, so here I have given a simple data. Okay, very simple data I have given, where you can see ID number, name, department, job, and salary is there. So based on, usually we lookups will work on the unique numbers. So for example, if I'm talking about Nandini N, so there might be one more student by the same name, and coincidentally she might be having the same initial also. So but what is the thing? It is going to show that these two Nandinis are totally different. Their ID number, student ID number. So first Nandini might be having 101, the second Nandini might be having 102. So whatever the names or the surnames are in common, but still the ID numbers will remain unique. That is why we have employee ID, student IDs, product ID, like this. For each and everything they maintain IDs, so that to show the uniqueness. Okay, so this lookups is basically, usually it is worked on unique values, so that is based on the ID numbers. So now based on this ID number I need to calculate certain things. So I will just select ID number. I'll put ID number over here. Based on it I wanted to find the name, and probably I'll tell salary also. Okay, so now here I will tell ID number 3. So here, how I need to write a VLOOKUP in order to get to know what VLOOKUP will do is, so when I tell ID number 3, so ID number 3, where it is, it will come and stop in ID number 3, and whatever the column number I tell. So ID number will be column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5. So when I tell ID number 3 and I wanted to find the name, that is column number 2, it will move and it will extract this name and it will show. If I'm talking about column number 5, so it will come to ID number 3 and it will move to the column number 5. So this is first column, second column, third column, fourth column, fifth column, and it will extract the information. VLOOKUP, usually it is used to extract the information and see. So now how am I going to write a VLOOKUP? Equals VLOOKUP, open the parenthesis, that is open the bracket, and there are certain arguments which I need to follow. Okay, so here they are telling what is the lookup value, so based on which value I need to apply the search. So this value, that is in D18, so whatever the ID number I have given in D18, Excel has to make a search, comma, on which table array Excel has to perform this action. It has to apply this action on this table array. So you can see, as I selected table array, it is showing B6 to F15. Okay, next, comma, column index number, which column number I'm looking for. So I wanted name, so ID number is first column, is name is second column, so column number 2, comma, I have two types of matches. First one is approximate match and another one is exact match. When am I going to apply this approximate match and exact match? Means approximate match when the value is nearby. For example, I go to a mobile showroom, I'll ask what is the cost of Vivo mobile. So they will tell starting range from 18,000 to 45,000. So they will tell approximate values. Why? Because I'm asking about Vivo mobile phone. I'm not talking about any particular model. So they will tell starting range from 18,000 to 45,000. We have the range. So if I go and ask Vivo 1340, what is the cost of this mobile? So here I'm talking about the unique ID number also. So what they will tell is this is 25,000 is the cost. So they are telling me the exact cost of that particular mobile when I'm telling along with the model number. When I'm just using the mobile phone name, they are telling the random value. So approximate match will be used when I have to choose between certain values from this number to this number. Okay, exact match when the value is unique, I have to take that value. So now here you can see ID numbers are in exact values, it is unique, so I will be taking exact match. So true is shown for approximate match where I will use 1, and false it is used for exact match where I'll be using 0. Okay, 0 represents exact match and 1 represents approximate match. So I'm going to tell 0 over here, that means exact match. I'll choose exact match and I'll close the bracket, enter. So ID number 3 is James. So now here I'll come to 8. So ID number 8 is Ganesh. Now I come to ID number 1, it is Miller. So if I tell ID number 9, it is Vimal. Once again, let me write the VLOOKUP so that you will get it cleared. Equals VLOOKUP, open the bracket, my lookup value, again ID number that is given in D18. I have to make the search based on it, comma, on which table I am going to apply the search. I am going to apply the search on this particular table. This is called as table array in VLOOKUP, comma, column index number. So ID number is first column, means name is second, department's third, job is fourth, salary is fifth column. So I need to find the salary, that is fifth column, comma. Now I wanted exact match. So in order to show exact match, I'm going to write it as 0 and select, using the down arrow, I'll select exact match, close the bracket, enter. So number 9, ID number 9 is Vimal. He is drawing the salary of 25,000. I'll come to 5. It is Fred. He is drawing the salary of 14,000. Here I'll tell 7. It is Jagan who is drawing the salary of 35,000. So if I'm talking about ID number 6, it is Sammy. He is drawing the salary of 25,000. Clear? Girls, no response.
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay,
Submit
you
an
people
exact
can.
match.
So the same way, I'm going to apply it for HLOOKUP also. So let me finish it so that you people can try both together. So here you saw my data is vertically organized. My table is vertically organized. I'm using VLOOKUP. If my table is horizontally organized, then I'm going to take HLOOKUP. So here I'll
Ma'am,
tell, yes, ma.
ma'am, can you show me the salary part?
You want me to explain it once again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so equals, I'll write VLOOKUP, open the bracket. Here my lookup value is ID number 6, that is in D18, comma, table array, comma, column index number. So ID number is first column, is second column, third column, fourth column, fifth column. Salary is in fifth column. So I'll put 5, comma, I wanted exact match. So I'll write 0. Select exact match by using down arrow, close the bracket, enter.
Okay,
Clear?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am,
So the
clear.
So the same way HLOOKUP I need to write. So here I'll write equals HLOOKUP. So when I'll be using HLOOKUP, when your table is horizontally organized, my lookup value, sorry, not here. So here I'll put ID number 2. So I need to find salary equals HLOOKUP, open the bracket, my lookup value, comma, my table array. So I will select the entire table, comma. Now in VLOOKUP, it was asking for column index number. Here it will ask for row index number. So as per that, ID number is the first row, name is second row, department is third row, job is fourth row, salary is fifth row. So here I am looking for row number 5, that is salary 5, comma, I'm going to use exact match. So select exact match and close the bracket, enter. So here the only difference is I need to write HLOOKUP and I need to mention it as a row index number instead of column index number, which is used in VLOOKUP. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You people can try this out. So tomorrow you people will not be having the class. So we'll resume back only on Monday again.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, so others, what about others? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So next class we'll continue with the approximate match in VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, and we have charts and we'll solve with one dashboard using the Excel tools only. Then we will start with our income statements. Okay, financial statements, we'll start with it. So now whatever today I have taught, no doubts, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you girls. Good night. Happy weekend.